Welcome to the Visions of the Unseen,
a program where we bring to our viewers unique stories of unique people.
Where we turn the spotlight to such people who have been quietly working for years.
Through our conversations with these individuals, we shall try to share their vision, see the world from their perspective.
বাংলায় বললে অদৃশ্যের দৃষ্টি কিংবা বলা যেতে পারে অদৃশ্যের দর্শন।
Very special guest,
Let me welcome Anurekha Ghosh,
Mr. Arjun Boshu Roy.
Mr. Sandeep Naulakha. Welcome back to Visions of the Unseen, where we turn the spotlight to such people who have been quietly working for years. And one such person is with us in the studio today. His name is Mr. Sandeep Naulakha, who dons many hats. And one of the hats that he dons is the secretary of the Murshidabad Heritage Development Society. So could you please tell us why you suddenly thought of starting a society called Murshidabad Heritage Development Society?
Well, this was started with a dream which I had way back in 2010, which was actually shook me up, and this was quite shocking to know. And in my dream that I dreamt was that there were beautiful temples, and they were being plundered and going to fall. They were falling apart as any other ruins that you see in our country. So with that dream, when I felt that I should go there and I see what it is, the same night I went to Murshidabad and I found that it is true that my dream is coming to a reality. We found that there were beautiful 14 temples, and most of them were completely neglected. There were beautiful historic buildings which was also lying neglected for more than 40 years. We were from the Shishodia clan, and then we came here, and then we got involved with business. And
1752 means just a few years after Murshidabad was established.
Yes.
Stakeholders are also people like you who have their
Yes.
ancestry, but they had also deserted Murshidabad.
Yes.
Okay.
So there was really suddenly, showing them the vision that this is the state and this is the potential of that region. It took me quite an effort, and it was of consistent talking to individuals and bringing them to one table to come to a consensus of making a society to rebuild and to bring back and have the resurgence of Murshidabad.
Yeah.
So when we could put them together to inspire the 11,000 people there.
They were all Jains.
No, interestingly, there were about 6,000 Jains and 5,000 non-Jains in that audience. And we invited them to inspire this audience to preserve the heritage and to value and cherish the heritage that is already there.
Yeah.
And then we got a lot of government support to take this further.
This renovation, the families are doing with their own funds?
Yes,
or?
with their own funds, and also people are making a consortium to support this development.
Okay.
The society has been very proactive in making this also aware to the central government. One of our founder members, Pradeep Chopra, the cookbook, which is again the Sherwali cookbook. Now the cuisine itself is so unique, and that art of cooking Sherwali food was also dying. And Sherwali being a very unique community, rich in its culture and its food and its lifestyle, we decided to preserve this. Things that we do with the unbuilt heritage is like this, and the culture, so that we've had like in events where ITC has collaborated with us to promote the mangoes of Murshidabad, which we had the Mango Heart as an annual event now. The second one will be this year in July, first week at the ITC. Our advertising campaign for the launching of the society was so large that it really shifted the mindset of people who were travelers and holiday makers to suddenly start seeing Murshidabad as a destination.
Yeah.
So the tourism itself has gone up by 3 times in 3 years. So the initial launching of the society created a big wave of Murshidabad. And then we hosted Shri Ravi Shankar ji there at Murshidabad with about 40,000 people, where again he motivated people to, you know, value their heritage and value their Murshidabad itself, because it has so much wealth. Being the wealth capital of the world one time, still the little bit whatever is left itself is lots for people to cherish and enjoy. Murshidabad as a destination.
Yeah, but you told us that in 2010 you actually had a dream. It's literally a dream.
Yes.
And that dream took you back to Murshidabad.
Right.
But have you spent your childhood in Murshidabad, or you are a
No.
Calcutta boy out and out?
I have never spent my life because, you know, by the time when I was born, the family had already migrated to Calcutta.
Okay.
So I had only been to Murshidabad 30 years back.
Oh.
Before I had this dream once,
oh.
and after 30 years I went back again, and it was for me.
So for you also it's a rediscovering
Yeah,
your own
absolutely.
roots.
So this dream really was coming true of what I saw and what I could envisage that, you know, things will be completely finished if we did not address the redevelopment
So all
of
the Jain
Murshidabad.
temples are being renovated.
Most of it has already been done, and many are under process.
Okay.
So,
So are the Jains also going, I mean, is it becoming a pilgrimage also, apart from the tourism attraction, is it
Yes.
becoming a pilgrimage for the Jains also?
again it started. Well, it has completely died down. People were not going, but in the last 3 years, the traffic is gradually building up to go there as a pilgrimage place. You know, we've been also inviting people from out of the country to
Okay.
come and enjoy, like architects and restoration architects and historians.
Right.
And we came out with books and publications, not only just the cookbook, but for example, the Mark came out with a publication on Murshidabad, inspired again with this initiative. You know, interestingly, my life is divided between my spiritual life, philanthropic work that I do, and my business. So I've had a lot of success stories in my business, and I've also had a great experience in my spiritual life. I started my journey with spiritual urge for spiritual learning when I was just 14 years old.
Okay.
I've had the privilege of being with Mother Teresa for many years, working with her very closely on creating employment to the unemployed who used to come to her centers seeking for jobs, which I could easily create for them by calling friends and family who had businesses running, so and they could get employment. Then I got into learning the Bhagavad Gita from a very renowned gentleman called Parthasarthi. So I was his student for 8 years.
Okay.
And then while I was hosting him and organizing his events in Calcutta, I had the privilege of meeting His Holiness Shri Ravi Shankar, and I did his Art of Living course. And after that, I found that there was a great transformation in my life, and I continued to work for that organization in creating and building the organization way back 28 years ago when I first met him.
So your talent in business and your spiritualism, what is the meeting ground? Do you see any clash sometime, any compromise you have to make, or there is a lot of overlapping area?
See, for me, business and spirituality goes hand in hand. Because of my spiritual and learning at a young age, I could stay unemotional, disconnected, and keep that
detached. Detached.
And because of my detached attitude in life, I could perform and I can still do things a little more different to people who would normally do when they attach to their business. Plus, I've always believed that my people should be trained and trust people. So that's how I could grow my business.
So with those words, we call it a day today. It has been a very interesting discussion with Mr. Sandeep Naulakha, and we shall meet again at the next episode of Visions of the Unseen.